Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Drink and Drive Traffic. I always like to start with a scratch to the head. This week on Drink and Drive Traffic, I'm going to talk to you guys about, last week we talked about things from a business perspective or a business owner's perspective. This week I wanted to talk about it from things about from an agency owner's perspective. So, and I'm going to mention right up front, I'm not a consultant. I'm not a marketing agency coach or anything like that. I'm not trying to sell you a service. We do white label. I'd love to sell you our white label services, but I'm not a coach. I'm not trying to sell you any services. I'm just sharing some information I've learned in the 4 or 5 years that I've run Inbound Revenue, my current agency, and in some of the agencies that I worked in and businesses that I've owned in the past. So there's a lot of you who are in the process of, you're contractors. You love what you do. You love SEO. You love website design, but you're trying to scale up to that next level. Now, again, I'm not a coach. I'm not an expert at this, but what I can do is share with you some of the things that I learned going from contractor to agency owner. And it is a real challenging process. Any of you that have been in it know it can be a real sticky spot to grow your business enough that you can step over into that role of agency owner and not just contractor. I mean, obviously, you might have to engage with both of those roles for a while. But to start out, as we always do on Drink and Drive Traffic, we're going to start with Frontera, which is a red blend. I'm going to drink it today out of my I Drink and I Know Things wine glass from Game of Thrones, and we're going to drink a Frontera. And the reason I went with the Frontera, it's a red, and I always drink a red, but it's a lower end red. It's not an expensive red. You can get these, for $7 just about anywhere. So it's not your 90-point red, but it's a Chilean wine. They're pretty good. But the specific reason I chose this is that it's called After Midnight. And these grapes are picked in the evening. They're picked at night. I honestly don't know what that means. I don't know if that means they're cooler, they're sweeter, but I thought that's cool. That's what I'm going to share with people today. And it's interesting because this wine is not even listed on their website that I could find anywhere. So you can go to fronterawines.com or down to your local liquor store and talk to them, see if they have this. But I'm going to give it a shot right now. Normally you want to, let your wines breathe for a while if you're a wine snob. But let's keep in mind two things. First of all, this is a free YouTube video, and you only get so much class here, and it's a $7 wine. How long do I really need to let it, breathe? I'm going to give it a little, look like I know what I'm doing, swish it around. Let's see what it tastes like. It's actually not bad. It's got sort of a Pinot Noir thing, kind of light. It's not like fruit forward like a Shiraz or something or a Malbec that's just going to jump up and punch you in the face. But I think this is a good wine. You can just sit and drink an entire bottle of and binge watch Netflix. So anyway, that's Frontera After Midnight. Let's get down to the heart of the matter here. I want to talk to you about the things that the transition from contractor to agency owner. And it's an interesting transition. Some of you may or may not want to do it. I have some friends, Al Safetta, you know this. You've run agencies, you've been a contractor. There's real advantages to being a contractor if you do it correctly. If you can get your billable rate up and you just want to make a decent living and you don't want the headaches, it's a great lifestyle business and you can do it from anywhere. So there's no necessity to become an agency owner unless you want to scale, unless you have that desire to run a company and to do those sorts of things. So let me walk through with you real quickly the types of the transition from contractor to agency owner. To me, the real hallmark of whether you have made that transition or if you're starting to make that transition is you're not generating all the revenue. You're starting to have a team or a person that is generating revenue in addition to you. And some of you may charge, flat rates. Some of you may bill by the project. In the end, it usually comes down to you're trying to target a particular hourly rate and you're paying someone an hourly rate. So even if you're doing it by project or I don't do anything by billable hour. Well, in the end, we all do because you have to divide the amount of hours you're paying someone it all comes down to hours in the end. So when you're starting to have people do your generate revenue that you're not actively working to generate, their hours are being billed to your client. To me, that's a transitional phase. When you are completely having your team do all the billable hours, or you're only doing those things that you like to do. Like I love to do business strategy, marketing strategy for small to medium-sized service businesses. I love to learn about their business. I love to learn about ways to help them. So I'll do that. If I get the right rate, I will go in there and do some billable hours. I like it. I enjoy it. I want to do it. But to me, that's a transitional point. Your very first hire, in my opinion, and I can tell you this because I did it wrong twice, is because I attempted 3 times to move from contractor to agency owner. Very first thing you should hire is a project manager. I hired talent. I hired AdWords folks. Wrong move. Hire a project manager. It takes more stuff off your plate immediately, and it will remove so much from your plate if you get a talented project manager. My project manager is not only good people person, good with projects, but also has tremendous ability to interview well and bring good people onto the team. So I always let her do that first level of interview, and then they'll come to me and we'll talk. So she's fantastic at that. Find out what you're good at, but get yourself a project manager. You can do it part-time. You don't have to go hire a full-time project manager. Sorry, I felt compelled to give this another try. Frontera, after midnight. So here's some of the basic things that you'll need. And trust me, this list is not all inclusive, but I think these are essentials. You're going to need to have some sort of budget because you're going to need to know how much revenue you need to pay your bills. You're going to need to keep some track of the revenue, how much revenue you need to have coming in. A spreadsheet is the best way to do this, in my opinion. I have done $10 million projects on a spreadsheet. You don't need fancy software for everything. Spreadsheet will work. Project on there your revenue, project on there your fixed expenses for the software that you use, project on there the revenue that you need, the taxes that you need to pay, and then what your team's going to cost you. And then have some metrics in there so that you can scale it up. Like for example, let's say you want your contractors to come in at 30% of your total billing. So when you go from $10,000 a month to $15,000 a month, have a scale so that you know how much you're going to have to pay those folks. Spreadsheets are beautiful tools. Grab some project management software. I'm going to do a piece about this one of these days because I have a software background, I have an IT background, I have a project management background, I have a process improvement background. And from my perspective, most of you would be better off to just start with a spreadsheet and then build up to some of the tools. Most of the tools you can't use. You don't know how to use them effectively. And most of them are not really good tools for project management. Some of them are good tools for collaboration, but you really have to be on top of your game to make some of these Basecamps and Trellos and things work. I know that you all are in love with them, but let's be practical. Communication. I personally love Slack for communication. We can set up channels for our clients. Everyone these days appears to be using it. It has so many advantages over Skype and email, and it is mostly free. So you can communicate with your team, you can communicate with your clients, you can create channels for different things. It's a beautiful piece of software. The next thing I recommend you do is you create some processes. When you onboard a client, what's the process? When you build a campaign or you build a website, what's the process? When you optimize a campaign or you whatever, launch a website, what's the process? And the important thing on the, and you can do these in a spreadsheet. Again, you can do them in your project management software. The important thing is to just get the most basic stuff. Do not try to build the perfect process. Too many people try to do that. This is going to be an iterative process. You're going to create something. Having something is better than nothing. And you're going to work off that something, and then you and your project manager, your team is going to come back to you and say, this really sucks. This really works well. We should do more of this, less of this. And then you'll improve your processes over time. Remember, with all these things, perfect is the enemy of good. It is always better to have something and improve it over time than it is to have nothing because you were trying to get the perfect set of processes, which, by the way, you're not going to get the perfect set of processes ever. So suck it up, write something. This is more from a sales perspective, and this might be slightly jumbled. Maybe I should have this in another spot. Maybe it was the wine. I don't know. I didn't start drinking till this episode, though. So packages. For me, some people are very adamantly against packaging their products because they don't think that it's a good fit. I think it works well when you can get away with it. To package your product, it makes it a lot easier to sell. And that steps into that sort of final thing on these bullets is the sales process. You now start to have a sales process because you have a team. You got to feed the family. You're going to have to put a sales process in place. You might have done hit and miss, referral only, whatever, but you're going to have a sales process. I also believe that even if you don't have a niche or if you offer a wide variety of services, it's really super important to have one focused service that you can say this is what we're excellent at. Get your customer in on that service and then offer the other services. If marketing, websites are your thing, funnels are your thing, pitch that, impress them, do a great job, and then bring them into, an SEO package or a content package or ongoing maintenance, whatever it might be. So you do all this stuff. How do you know it's working? The number one thing that happened to me was like, holy crap, what am I going to do today? All of a sudden you're like, it's like this feeling comes over you like, I'm not being frantically yelled at by clients. I don't have a list of 47 things I have to do. I'm kind of bored. And it scares you. It scared me. Maybe it wouldn't scare you. But that's when you know all this crap is starting to work. You're starting to run an agency. So now you start to focus on running your business, not treading water every day. You can start to get rid of those pain in the ass clients. And that's one of the funnest things you'll ever do as an agency owner is just say, hey, you're no longer a good fit for us. You're really annoying. Shut up. Go away. I can recommend some folks to you because we all have those clients. You can start to avoid taking on those clients. Now, there's one super secret indicator that will tell you that you have successfully made that transition. What is that super secret indicator? To me, the super secret indicator is you're now able to work for the first time ever on your own marketing. We all know marketing agencies, marketing people are terrible at doing their own marketing. So now you're suddenly able to look at your website and say, man, that sucks. We should do this. We should get a YouTube channel. We should post more on social media. We should be running some ads. We should create some landers. You can start to focus on your own marketing. So to me, that is that when you're starting to focus on your own marketing and growing your own business, all of a sudden, wow, I've started to, I feel like I am an agency owner now. Then you have to keep it up. You have to keep the revenue coming in, keep the reputation up. I wanted to pass along a recommendation. By the way, here's a tiny quick brief glance at Smartsheet. That's what we use. I love that software. I'll talk about that another day. I have never paid Jason Swank for anything, but I have listened to a lot of his free content. I know that you can engage him as a consultant to help you grow your agency. I haven't done it, but based on the amount of content that I've watched that he's produced and the stuff he gives away for free online, I feel pretty comfortable reaching out to him. At very least, watch his videos. Watch his content. He's got a bunch of it. And look, here's Gary Vee disagreeing with him. That's when Gary Vee knows that you exist. Hey, that's good stuff. So hopefully this was, somewhat worth it to you. today. You found a few things of interest here. This is Drink and Drive Traffic with Mark Kelly with the Frontera After Midnight